Yo, everybody, we're back with Deep Images, and we are doing a few more zombies. Everyone has loved our zombie coverage in the past, and I hope you'll love this. So, anyway, I'm Henry Covert, the director slash co-host. I got Chuck C.F. Roberts, the co-host, co-producer, and the amazing A.C. Nicholas, who has been our featured panelist of late and done a bang-up job. So, we're going to talk about a movie that has zombies, and like some of the movies we talked previously, not everyone thinks of it as a zombie movie, but it definitely has zombies, and we're going to talk about where they come from, but there's a much larger overarching story that I think is quite fascinating. So we're going to turn it over to CF.
Well, hello, hello. Yeah, so
Hey.
I opted for Prince of Darkness, and this is kind of a big weird favorite of mine. We were talking earlier in the taping about the Lovecraftian element to horror cinema, and this is one that definitely contains it. This is made in 1987. I think it's kind of like a an odd period for John Carpenter. He did a lot of peculiar movies. He did a lot of good movies. They were all fairly good. Um,
Well, he came off the hit era and went
yeah,
into the lower budget, which this, he wrote this and then They Live back to back,
yeah,
and he wrote them with no thoughts about them being big. And I think it's some of his
yeah,
best writing, in my opinion.
yeah. And he wrote this. He wrote this under the nom de plume of Martin Quatermass. And does that ever apply? Is that ever appropriate? This brings was it 5 million years to Earth,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was called, Quatermass in the
Mm-hmm.
Pit.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
Uh, but it definitely gives off that vibe. Now, this movie has got a pretty kicking cast. Donald Pleasance uh, playing a priest. We've got kind of real reliable character actor Victor Wong
Oh yeah,
playing. Huh?
I said, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, playing Professor Birak. Among the other cast members, you get Jason Parker playing Brian, Lisa Blount, Arkansas native, playing Catherine, probably coming off of Officer and a Gentleman, where I think she plays the quote unquote bad girl.
The one I'd like to point out before you go on is Dennis Dune, who was the star of Big Trouble in Little China for Carpenter.
Yes, yes.
Now, that's the bait and switch for people who really know Carpenter and know that movie and know what it was influenced by. Dennis Dune is the hero of the film, and Victor Wong also has a big part, and so does
Yeah,
James Hong. The spoiler of the movie is Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell. So
yeah,
everybody thinks it's his movie and he's the hero, but if you watch the movie, Dennis Dune and the other Asian characters solve the problem. Jack Burton just keeps screwing up, but he's hilarious.
yeah. He's just he's kind of the comic relief character who
Right?
believes he is the hero. Yeah, that's when Lisa Blount actually one of the last movies she did was a film made here in Arkansas, and
Oh,
I
wow.
had earlier in the taping I had referenced my roommate. My roommate had an extra part in that movie called Crystal, which you know starred Billy Bob Thornton
Oh, really?
and
When did?
Walton Goggins. I think
Oh,
I
I like
don't
Walton Goggins. Yeah.
I don't think he starred in it, but I think he
Oh,
was
yeah.
actually kind of behind the scenes.
Lisa Blunt, yes, she was a genre staple in the '80s. Listen to these. This is what I saw her in recently. Blind Fury, I got on Blu-ray with
Ooh,
Rutger Hauer. She's
oh
co-star.
yeah,
She was in Night Flyers. She was in Radioactive Dreams. Yes, she was in Dead and Buried, the female lead in that. She, well, actually, Melody Anderson, then her, and then Officer and a Gentleman. Yeah, Crystal. I see it with an H.
yeah. That I
Wow,
believe that's
what a
right.
career! Yeah, I had just watched Blind Fury a couple months ago for on Blu-ray. So continue with this saga.
The saga, yes. Let me see another notable cast member, and that was Susan Blanchard, who plays the character of Kelly, who becomes very important. Now, I drew a complete blank with this actress. She was actually very big in commercials
Hmm.
back at that time, or somewhat before that. I didn't, for the life of me, recognize her right up till the last time I saw this, but she was big in commercials, particularly around late 70s, early 80s. She appeared in a very short-lived sitcom with Pat Morita called Mr. T and Tina,
Oh,
and
I remember that.
she was the titular Tina.
Now, is this Susan Blanchard? Well, also, I just read she was one of the original stars of All My Children for the first few years.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, that tracks.
Wow. Dirk Blocker.
Dirk Blocker, yeah, he was in there too, who I believe is the son of Dan Blocker, aka Hoss from Bonanza.
Yes, and then of course I'm going to let you reveal the stunt casting of the movie, the super stunt casting of the movie.
Super stunt casting. Oh yeah, okay. And you got Alice Cooper in there.
Alice.
Yeah, yeah, Alice Cooper playing a homeless guy who more pretty much becomes a zombie. Here's where we get some of our zombie action, folks. And it has a very pronounced bit of action where he shoves a bicycle right through Thomas Bray. It's a lot of fun.
He didn't do anything to further the positive image of homeless people in the 80s. Really
He certainly didn't, or much of anything.
did.
Was, I don't know, just I don't know, his appearance in there was a lot of fun. We saw the trailers or the TV spots running, and I think we looked at it, and somewhat possibly my brother looked at it and said, "Is that Alice Cooper?" And I'm like, "No, no, it can't be." Yeah, it was. It is. It's totally Alice Cooper.
He made the commercial choice to go metal. Unfortunately, artistically, his music then just stopped meaning anything really. In
Yeah,
my humble opinion, but
yeah, well, I it's hard for me to disagree. I'm one of those. I'm one like the two or three Americans who's actually a big fan of the blackout period.
what is
But
the blackout period? What is that?
that's everything he did between Flush of the Fashion and Dada.
Oh, I like those albums.
Yeah, I love those
Yeah,
albums.
great stuff.
But yeah, just the the Alice Love coming through. Anyway, so Prince of Darkness opens with this very old priest at a parish, I think in Los Angeles, dying. They find him dead, and he's clutching this little jewelry box that looks kind of like a treasure chest. And the nun opens it and becomes very disturbed, and I think does the sign of the cross and runs out.
Mm.
Before too long, they bring in kind of a big dog priest played by Donald Pleasance, and he starts uncovering what this is all about. He unlocks a secret door to this church that no one ever opens, goes down into a basement and opens up into a whole new thing. And there is a big, it's like quasi cathedral built underneath the church. And when you walk up to it, there's this big thing at the center of the church. It's like giant container filled with water that is swirling around, looking very ominous. So he puts a call out, and you see people responding to this call. And Victor Wong, who plays a kind of a, I don't know if I want to say renegade or more like a maverick physics professor. Is it
He's a
physics?
quantum physics, quantum
Quantum
mechanics guy.
physics. And who's
Which in
very much into,
'87 that was still kind of fringy.
yeah, and very much into, he sits down and he talks all kinds of abstract in his classes, talks all kinds of abstract ideas about where particles, kind of bust down reality as we know it and turn it into silly putty. And
Brilliant.
he gathers a number of his grad students, most of which are played by the characters that we have mentioned here. There's Jameson Parker and Lisa Blount playing Brian and Catherine, and they are, a pair of grad students who basically have started some form of relationship with one another. Susan, yeah, Kelly, who's one of the other ones. Dunn, what's his Dennis
Just
Dunn?
doing, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the other ones.
Paul.
Just there are a number of them,
Yeah.
and they get together along with other members of faculty and some of their undergrad people who are doing other things,
Mhm.
just statistics studiers, computers, and whatever else. And they're kind of covertly told, yeah, this will this will be a big benefit on your grade if you come to this church with me and work on this project. And a lot of them jump on that.
Yeah, because
And so,
Birac is trying to find, well, they have specialized skills, right?
yeah,
So he's going to have each one of them work on different aspects of this thing, which I'll let you describe what the thing is.
yeah, yeah. So they all go in and do various science. And so they go in and they meet with Donald Pleasance, and he leads them down into this quasi cathedral room down below the church, and they're all looking at this big tower kind of container of water. And he says, there's stuff going on with this. We found this. Yeah, this one old Monsignor died, and his notes led us to this. And there's this brotherhood that's existed for many, many years called the Brotherhood of Sleep. And they guard this vial, this big jug of evil looking water with their life. And everyone goes and sets up and starts monitoring this thing with computers, with a lot of other stuff. And outside, suddenly, a lot of the local homeless just gather around the church and just sit there and stare. And it's kind of like, what the hell is this about? And yeah, Alice Cooper, well, very, very present in this position.
Sounds like an average scene in American City now. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Let us in. We're homeless.
and growing and growing.
Oh yeah.
So this entire scenario breaks down. What they find, this thing starts typing up. You start picking up long reams of vibrations off computers that are being printed up, and just weird tachyon energy. And they're all trying to figure out, they've never seen anything like it. And some people are digging in and they're very obsessed with this. And other people are like, screw this, we're leaving.
Right.
Whenever people try to walk out to the church, the homeless people attack them and kill them.
Mm.
And so eventually they're just barricaded in there. They can't get out. They don't know what's going on.
Wow.
But the lore comes out that this thing is basically one or another form of Satan. Long story short, it's manipulating these homeless people, and it wants out. And
Right.
eventually
Right.
something weird happens where the water leaks out and it starts spreading across the ceiling, and it sprays like this jet of water right into Kelly's face, right into her mouth.
Gross.
and
It's green.
and yes, it's green water, green evil water. And she chokes on it and falls down, and they end up, oh, and eventually she bumps her arm against a table or something and ends up developing this bruise that looks like the Blue Oyster Cult logo, the little emblem. It's like the
Chronos,
Greek
yeah.
symbol for chaos.
Yes.
And and things kind of start snowballing from there. This thing infects her, and she is infected with the aspect of Satan. She has become the avatar for Satan on this plane, and she's trying to get the primordial being that created Satan out of its dimension and bring it into ours.
Right, right.
Right around the time there start being these transmissions. People are having these dreams that come
Oh,
across like transmissions,
from the future,
and yeah,
right?
from the future, from the year,
It
as the
cuts off.
person recording says, yeah, the year 1999,
So 12 years in
and
the future.
yeah, about 12 years in the future, the image you see is this monstrous looking figure standing in the doorway of the church. And you get the feeling, well, this is, things are going to be bad.
It really looks
What's,
the way it looks like found footage shit, the way he shot it and did the sound.
yes,
Love it.
yeah, it really does. And it's just like, to quote Yeats, what rough beast comes around? Its hour come round at last. Now slouches toward Bethlehem to be born.
Good
And
one.
so Kelly is infected with this thing. Anyone she gets in contact with, she sprays water out of her mouth, and they all get infected. And it gets freaky. People start running around, destroying shit, killing each other. People kill themselves. One guy, I think, eventually, as the final group are kind of gathering together, trying to survive all of this. They end up lopping his head off, and he puts his head back on and starts singing and talking and
Is
laughing.
this
And
is this the black guy?
yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, and
Yeah,
just
he
more and
he
more people. And Kelly is just developing all these sores on herself, and she's starting to look real nasty. But she's like sees a little mirror in a compact, and she tries to put her fingers through it, and she gets her fingers into the mirror, and she starts whispering, "Father, Father," and she can't get through to it, but it's too small. But it's like she's looking for a mirror to reach into, and the characters are all battling Satan or this zombie outbreak. These people are and the strangest zombies in the world because they're all shambling around, spraying jets of water out of their mouths,
yeah,
which
I mean they're totally devoid of their old personality, but
yeah,
what'd you say her name Kelly?
yeah, Kelly,
Yeah, she to me as more she rots, she kind of looks like a Fulcius zombie.
yeah,
He's like
yeah,
patient zero, I guess, right?
yeah, very much. But anyway, it just as it builds toward the climax, it just Kelly trying to get to a mirror where she can bring her father through, and all these other characters battling these zombified coworkers who apparently can't die, and they're just
Already
white
dead.
in this very ghoulish kind of method. I've never seen zombies spraying water out of their mouths, and
How many make the last stand? Isn't it like Brian and his girlfriend
Brian, Catherine,
Fong,
uh,
Dennis Dune Fong?
Birak, yeah, Dennis Dune,
I don't think
um,
Pleasance does Pleasance make it the whole way. I don't think he does.
yes, he does.
Oh, he does.
It comes down to the finale of her finding this wall mirror and reaching in, and you see her hand going through the mirror and going into this water dimension, and there's this big horrific hand, this big horrific kind of mutant hand reaching out toward her, and
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to connect, which is when Catherine runs at her and decides, it's now or never. She's got to stop this from she's got to stop this thing from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And she pushes herself against Kelly, and Kelly goes right through the mirror. She goes right through with her, and just as they're doing that, Donald Pleasance does his big thing, his big coup to try to end all this, and throws a fire axe at the mirror and breaks it. Which the last thing you see is Catherine being assumed into the water universe and being dragged away as she looks like she's reaching out for help.
Brian.
And it's all over. They've stopped the thing from becoming a thing. All the zombified people fall over and die. The homeless people come back to their senses and start walking away. And then
Trying to find a
later
place
on
to
you see,
sleep.
yeah, and then you see the firemen and the paramedics, you know gathering around the church, pulling out all the bodies. And Donald Pleasance's priest tells Birak, well, we did it. We stopped this attack. We stopped this monstrous thing from happening with God's help. And which, so he's retreated, even though he's found out basically that all Western religion in this universe has basically been proven to be a lie.
Right, right,
uh it's all to cover up this big Lovecraftian nightmare that's on the other side.
right.
uh he's retreating right back into the old religion. He's like, we triumphed with God's help. And Brian is devastated. He's lost Catherine, to some other dimension. He goes home and is just kind of quietly grieving. He starts receiving more transmissions.
In his dream.
Yes, and the tachyon transmission that comes through in his dream is the same one that you've been seeing. It says, goes in on the church, grainy footage, and it's like coming out from the year 1999. And as it moves into the church, you see the figure, but the figure is changed. You see the figure coming out of the church, and it's Catherine. And then he wakes up startled. He wakes up in absolute horror, looks over next to him in the bed, and freaks out because it's Kelly, and Kelly's rotting body, and he screams, and then he wakes up
I
alone
was
in
like, is he
bed.
getting on necrophile in his grief or what? No, okay.
Maybe he's gone something.
And he
He's
wakes
getting
up
all
again.
Rose for Emily up in this bitch. But he wakes up, stops for a second to gather himself, walks over to the mirror, and the very last shot is him reaching out his hand and touching the mirror, and then it cuts and rolls to credits.
Does it show the water effect start or just he's touching the mirror? I can't remember.
Just him touching.
Okay. But that's what you think might happen next.
No doubt.
So this is a riff on John Cocteau's film Orpheus, where they
Uh-huh.
where you they go into the mirror, and the mirror is, in that movie, beyond the mirror is death. Every time you
Yeah.
look in the mirror, you're looking at death because you're seeing yourself age every day. That's a line from the movie. And then
Uh-huh.
they give him these special gloves. Death's right hand man, he leads Orpheus through, and then the actor is obviously putting his hands up to the mirror, and then it's like the way the effect is, the mirror turns to water. You see his fingers go through and come out the other side, and then they both step through. So, yeah, that's the earliest cinematic illustration of that I can think of. Though Cocteau himself did something similar in Blood of a Poet, a shorter movie, but uh, actually the our Facebook group Deep Images, the banner, uh, portrait I have, that's the scene from Orpheus. So they're
Oh
going into
wow.
the mirror. So that's a deep image. That's what gave me the whole like idea. But I reviewed Orpheus under Strange Love Stories
That's right.
last year. So if y'all haven't seen Orpheus, watch it immediately. Um, or just you've lost your cred. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm in the audience. Watch it immediately.
We are the cred police.
But yeah,
We are the cred police, and we have found you wanting.
and since Prince of Darkness, that's been done in other genre stuff that was on the other side of the mirror. But I thought this is one of
Yeah.
the earliest visual. Well, one of the, not Orpheus was 1950, so 37 years later. But there might be something in between. I don't know about you. What did you think as far as I felt like the way the zombies start to proliferate and the cosmic horror element, it felt kind of like those Fulci movies, Beyond, House by the
Yeah.
Cemetery, City of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and I
I felt
wasn't
like they
familiar with
directly
those at the
influenced him.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with those at the time, but I can
right.
see that.
Yeah, because it's just a few
Um,
years earlier.
but I remember just being absolutely blown away by that when I saw it. And I remember just talking to everybody about it and just talking to my family. You got to see this. You got to see this. And family members then went to see it, caught it on cable or whatever. They were just like, really? Is that was ridiculous? It was the zombies walking around spraying water out of their mouths. That just seemed kind of silly to me. And
I
just
had friends who mentioned the movie to me, and the only thing they were excited about was Alice Cooper. And
yeah,
all of us had grown up with John Carpenter, in the theaters on TV. He could do no wrong until Starman.
yeah,
Critically, and well, that was our opinion. I don't know what I think of Starman now. I haven't watched it, and God knows, but everything up from Assault on Precinct 13, which we hadn't seen as kids, Halloween up to
yeah.
Escape from New York, maybe was just pretty much
Hmm.
like flawless, to us. But
Oh
um,
yeah,
Prince of Darkness, it seemed like nobody was as interested, and the thing is, nobody could articulate
yeah,
to me what it was about, so I never really hunted it down. And it's not an insult on the movies; it's an insult on the people I knew who were not they were not curious about cinema or deep ideas. They were just like they just liked horror. I mean, they did.
yeah,
Some people are like that. They're just I like horror. Do you like film?
yeah.
No, I like
I think
horror.
my brother had seen it before me, and he recommended it to me,
Oh, well,
and
that's good.
he kind of caught on to the big ideas, and it's like, imagine if like you found out that Christianity was just a cover up for this big thing, like this monster on the other side of the dimension, like, and Jesus was an alien that was sent to stop it,
That was
but
then
then they
God told me
killed
to.
him. But then they realized it was right, and then they built a church. They built this whole lie around a
Yep.
church. I thought,
But it's see, yeah, it's cosmic horror. It's science fiction. It's all
yeah.
element. It's
And I just
all
thought, wow, that's kind of a trip,
yeah, because Satan is
So
really this energy inside of it, or Satan and his progenitor are energy inside this tank. And so
mm,
the first thing that struck me when I watched the movie, because when I finally watched the movie, I had been reading a good bit of quantum mechanics stuff, not like the hardcore mainstream line. I read some of that, but I was reading a lot of the way outline, like Robert Anton Wilson and Schrodinger's cat stuff and all that. And I was like,
mm,
I was like, wow, anything could fucking happen, And
hmm
so when I'm like, okay, there's a movie talking about Satan and quantum mechanics, and they're combining using quantum mechanics to explain Satan's return. And I was like, I thought it was one of those brilliant movie. I still do. I think it's one of those brilliant hooks for a movie I've ever seen. And the
yeah,
way it was meticulously done, like building the characters, each character had a certain specialized skill. Everybody had their own kind of, personality. And Dennis Dune was great because he was the clown guy. He kept,
yeah,
he joked all through the movie, and he was pretty damn funny, and he hit on all the women. And to me, that was about what a guy in 1987 that I knew would do in a case like that. And I probably would have done that too. And I also like
yeah,
the fact he's a prominent Asian actor. But yeah, Pleasance is kind of the old school, and he does it well. Victor Wong is just like next level. I mean, he just has so much presence. I felt like Jameson Parker kind of represented like the average person being thrown into this thing, and then you
Yeah.
throw a little love interest in there, and it becomes personal. But
Yeah,
it's
it's kind of like the proxy for the viewer.
yeah, and it's one thing after another. I mean, it's just it never really once they're in and they're doing the investigation, and the first thing happens with Kelly, it just doesn't really slow down to the end. You know,
Yeah.
and these people who are alive are fighting for their lives, trying to break through walls and get into other parts of the building to get away from the zombies. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think, AC Nicholas?
Oh, I really liked it. And this movie is surprising in a lot of ways because it's so unseen. I mean, In the Mouth of Madness is the one that's now kind of developed a cult.
Yeah,
And
it's superseded Prince of Darkness a little bit.
and that one does can't hold a candle to this one.
No, I like In the Mouth of Madness, but that's it. I like it, but I
Exactly.
adore Prince of
Yeah.
Darkness.
I mean, it's good for what it is. This movie is very different, and you can tell it's a passion project of Carpenter. You mentioned he used the pseudonym Martin Quatermass after Nigel Neal's famous hero in all those British TV series of early BBC in the late
Yeah.
50s and early 60s. And it's a science fiction horror movie.
Mhm.
And that would have been a hallmark of Nigel Neal, Quatermass in the Pit, aka 5 Million Years to Earth, which is a brilliant Hammer film.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
And the surrealistic stuff in this is really creepy. The transmissions from the future are based in science. Yes, I actually studied quantum mechanics in college.
oh cool.
So tachyons are a construct of theoretical quantum mechanics. They are a subatomic particle that travels backward in time.
It cannot
Yeah.
move slower than the speed of light.
It moves faster than the speed of light.
That's what I mean. It can't move any slower than that.
No, and what's interesting is the way they hypothesize, because Einstein's theory of relativity says nothing can be accelerated past the speed of light. So if tachyons are moving faster than the speed of light, they're going back in time, which people who agree that tachyons exist say, well, they were never accelerated past the speed of light. They probably existed at the time of the Big Bang, and they've always gone faster than the speed of light. I don't know. I mean, a lot of that quantum mechanics stuff breaks down because there's no real world analog. When I studied it,
Mhm.
one of my professors told me, he said, it's like religion, you just have to believe. So, in a way,
It is, but it's
Yeah.
like an explanation for. I mean, Eastern religion and quantum mechanics overlap in a lot of ways.
yeah, and I think Carpenter's genius screenplay here was to see that quantum mechanics is like religion because
Yeah.
you have things that exist as a particle and a wave at the same time. You have things that, I mean, if I could move my hand slowly enough, I could put my hand through a wall, but I can't in the macro universe. But down in the subatomic world, where there are all these weird things where our laws that we know do not apply, and they're completely different laws. And that's what Einstein spent the latter part of his life looking for, this unified field theory that would explain the macro world with the subatomic world. And they're
Yeah.
not there yet, but I commend Carpenter for the research there. He's made a nice scientific horror movie, which I like a lot, and I wish more people would watch it. Great choice.
Yeah.
Very
Really.
thought provoking. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
the interesting thing is with the Birak character is he almost comes off like a shaman in places where
yeah.
he's speaking about quantum physics, but he's speaking in a very almost like oracle type
He's
fashion.
he's he's warning. He's the secular guy warning the other characters. Pleasance is the religious guy warning the other characters.
Mhm.
So they're
Hmm.
they're each like, you know, they each have or believe they are privy to some knowledge that can explain this or help them get through it. But really,
Yeah.
everyone else is clueless and they don't completely understand it. But I don't know. I wanted to read you this little thing off Wikipedia about Prince of Darkness. This I did not know this or I did not recall it. It says film critic John Kenneth Murr, who by the way lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live. I've not met him. Suggests that Prince of Darkness serves as a parable for the AIDS epidemic that was at its peak during the time this was made. Throughout the film, demonic possession is depicted as something that is transmitted like a communicable disease via fluid passed between people. Murr goes on to note a number of references to homosexuality in the film, namely regarding the character of Walter, who makes several statements implying he is gay, though he briefly flirted with Lisa. In particular, notes a sequence in which Walter, attacked by a number of possessed women while trapped inside a closet, emerges and flees. In addition to this, Murr writes in the film pointedly asks some rather big questions about human nature, our existence, and the universe at large. Okay, I agree with his last sentence, but I mean, I could see the AIDS thing though.
Yeah,
that is pretty nasty. Those fluids into your mouth.
It is. I don't buy into that. I buy into it more that Carpenter saw the relationship between science and religion, and because again, you have to have faith if you believe in a religion, and you have to have faith to believe in quantum mechanics. Yeah. And in a way, it's also, now that you've mentioned this, Henry, I was thinking Vampires is another movie with religion and the supernatural. Because if you remember in Vampires, James Woods is a vampire hunter for the Vatican, and he knows God exists, and he's put on this earth to destroy evil in the form of vampires. So Carpenter has some interesting ideas for screenplays.
Yeah, I mean, what I read a great biography of him years ago. I don't remember if I checked it out of work or I owned it. I lost it, but it talked about that period, and he was kind of allegedly kind of disillusioned with the big blockbuster part of Hollywood and having producers meddling with him or whatever, and trying to come up with money. So he wrote these two screenplays back to back, and they both kind of came from his deepest, wells of his brain, and strong influences by, obviously it's the Quatermass, the Lovecraft, all these things he had been reading and enjoyed in science fiction, and these big ideas, and putting them into something that was like horror. And when he did They Live, he took this obscure story, 5 o'clock in the morning, which I've never tracked down. Have you? Any of you guys?
Yeah, I've read it.
Oh, wow. Well, he took that story, and then he said it was by Frank Armitage. I read he called himself Frank Armitage for this play, for the screenplay, because Armitage was the character in Lovecraft, Henry Armitage. And
wow.
But there is another level to it, because Keith David's character in the movie is called Frank Armitage. So
wow.
I know. I've got to say that have we covered They Live on this channel? I want to say we never have. We almost covered it every other minute, but
wow, that's one I kind of figure we would have covered.
I don't know. I know we've talked about it, but I don't think we've done a review or a group thing on it, because LL Source, when he was briefly with us, wanted to add that to the alternate science fiction stack. And I was kind of like, well, it's almost too mainstream for that, what we were trying to do. But then I'm like, but I don't know, man, it's They Live. I mean, that's pretty, it's iconic, but it's not, it's ubiquitous, it's iconic, but it's not wholly understood to this day. I mean, there are memes about it, but those memes, they're good. They've spread the point, but the movie's a different experience. And
they kind of focus on the more shallow aspects of it.
Yeah, like Obey or Corporate Masters, and
that's to kick ass and chew bubble gum, which I like just fine, but just it runs a little deeper than that. Once a little bigger than that.
Yeah, Carpenter was bitter about Reagan, and Reagan shutting down the asylums and the amount of homelessness as people beginning, and he covers all that. And again, that's a very totally class conscious film. That's really what it is about. Totally. It's about America. I mean, no matter as aliens doing it or Black Rock, someone is doing this to our people. And I've told the story before. I don't know if I've told both of you guys, but when I finally bought it on Blu-ray 5 years ago, I hadn't seen it in a few years. I'd had it on DVD, seen it quite a bunch. and I watched it on Blu-ray. It looked really beautiful. So this is like 2019. So I'm watching this thing, and the movie comes out in 1988, so 30 years. And I'm like, I cried. I cried a lot in the movie because I was like, we're here. This is where we're at, and it could have been different, you know, but this is where we're at, you know. And it resonated so hardly with me that I've watched it once since then. It's still the same way. I mean, I didn't cry, but I was just like, wow, you know, this is the whole long fight scene between Keith David and Roddy Piper. That is what they want black and white people, poor whites and blacks, to do. Just keep at it till they kill each other. You know, they care not about the whole thing. That movie has a lot of layers, and I think it's still being unpacked. So yeah, one day we'll unpack it. But back to the Prince of Darkness. I think the two back to back were great. I mean, to me, if he'd stopped after that, it would have been fine. You know, I mean, I only really like one of his movies after that, in the Mouth of Madness, and then even that one took a while to grow on me. I can't think of any others that I'm really fond of. I've seen all of them. The Ward I finally saw last week, so now I've seen all of them. That was not good. I mean, there's some good shots in it. You know, some suspenseful little passages. Did you see it, The Ward?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's mediocre.
I mean, Amber Heard in a mental hospital. Okay, well, that's pretty high concept considering her life now. But she acts when the police arrest her. She acts just like she did in that courtroom. It's kind of funny. But I did like the idea of it being a mental hospital. I've been in a mental hospital, and it was fascinating. But the twist, I think, ruined it. It ruined it if you were going to tell that story.
Yeah.
And of course, they had to set it in the 50s. They wanted to set it when shock treatment was still around. That's fine, but that's been done before. I mean, that was done at the time. Which, like, Shock Corridor. What's the movie?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
We had an early one.
The Bell Jar.
The Snake Pit. Is that what it's called? Or Olivia Havilland?
I think it's the
Snake Pit.
Snake Pit, yeah.
Late 40s. And there was one called Whirlpool, too. Yeah. So there's been a bunch of movies of that time to show. I thought Carpenter would have been better served just doing the Reagan era, but you know, I don't know that he's really. He seems to pretty much just be into his music and himself. He doesn't really seem to be into creating movies anymore.
Music, playing video games, watching basketball, having
a smoke, and
yeah.
Well, you know what? Those residuals.
He earned it, though.
Yeah, he sure did. Speaking of The Ward, it is not great, but it's the best of his end of his career films because let's face it, the remake of Village of the Damned sucks.
Terrible. I didn't like Ghosts of Mars.
That really sucks. I think that's his worst film.
Some of the casting was good, but they did Nothing with them. Clea Duvall and Pam Grier would have been cool, but squanders them.
And I don't like Escape from L.A. either.
No, I didn't like that either.
The Ward is actually marginally better than those movies.
I think the best things he did, relatively speaking, after In the Mouth of Madness, and I don't think these really are anyone could have directed them. They're not auteur-like, were the 2 episodes of Masters of Horror.
Well,
Cigarette Burns.
Was he the one who did Cigarette Burns?
Yeah, I mean they're pretty
okay.
They're good. I don't think they're good because of the way
he's all right.
That was true of a lot of Masters of Horror because Mick Garris is really kind of a non-style guy, and
kind of a very workmanlike director.
Yeah, he seems like he encourages these auteur directors to just tell the story as flat as possible, just to get it across the concept. And the same thing happened with Argento, but it happened. I think something good came out of it. He did. Peltz was fine, and not
Jennifer's
great.
Better.
Jennifer is brilliant.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. That's based on a comic book story. Have y'all read that story before?
No, but I know.
I think so.
It's Bruce Jones and Bernie Wrightson at his peak of grotesquerie. And I think it was in Creepy or Eerie. It's nasty, and I think they really captured the feelings. It's pretty heavy. I mean,
I'll debate you, Henry, on one point about you said that really anybody could have directed cigarette burns. If you look at the legendary lost film that caused riots and burned the theater down, the snippets that Carpenter does of that film were just as kind of unnerving as the transmissions from the future in Prince of Darkness. So it does have a little bit of that
Yeah.
Carpenter style there. But I agree with you otherwise. It's kind of, it's well done. It's TV.
Well, it's like Jennifer could have been directed by somebody else and been just as good. However, it is at least a notch on Dario Argento's belt in the 21st century.
Is that one Argento?
Yeah,
Argento directed Jennifer and Peltz.
Yeah, I think I recall that one being. Yeah, I think I recall Jennifer being.
Jennifer's one is one Steven Weber, and he
Mhm.
falls in love with a woman whose face is grotesque, but her body's unbelievable, and she just keeps having sex with her, but there's something ugly to her other than her face, and it just says he becomes obsessed. And well, to be honest, it was kind of realistic.
It's totally realistic. It's the butterface deal, you know.
Yeah. It was,
I think.
I'm not going to say how, but I know how.
No, but happens. I think all of us who've been in a heterosexual relationship, maybe at one time or another, have stayed in a little bit longer, just because
the sex.
Well,
when I was young, I was all, Mr. Happy and sweet and love. So I was just like, is the girl pretty? Is she nice? Then I got older. I'm like, is she smart? Do we have a lot in common? And then as I got older and got kind of jaded, it's like, and that stuff started to not pan out for me, which sucked. I started to notice women, and I started to get a bit, into their bodies. And, there were situations where it's like, yeah, I would have met a girl like Jennifer. I'm in the same way. But they're right. How the hell do you get out of it once you, it was a great metaphor for sexual addiction.
It is.
And Bruce Jones is one of the great comic book writers and great underrated comic book writers. And of course, Wrightson was like a force unto himself. I met him a number of times. Spoke to him personally because my ex-wife knew him and his wife. And even after my wife and his wife fell out, Bernie was still nice to me. Oh. And then when he passed, it was like, I was kind of sad about it. I was kind of sad about it, but it was awkward because of the way my ex-wife felt about them. Any final thoughts on Prince of Darkness?
Y'all need to go see that. Drop all your suppositions of what a horror movie or a devil movie or a zombie movie are supposed to be and just watch the damn thing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And if you have seen the Fulci ones first, you'll love it because you'll see that thread in it, And vice versa. If you like Prince of Darkness, check out City of the Living Dead, or Beyond. I'm glad we're in Congress on this. So
definitely.
Before we head out, AC mentioned something earlier that he wanted to talk to the audience about that was real important to him, and it's definitely important to us.
Yes, it is. If you are watching our videos, we'd certainly appreciate your support so that you can see more of this wonderful cinematic content. So hit the bell for notifications. Like and subscribe to the Deep Images podcast, and we have more coming.
Oh yes, we have one other big project. I'm not going to spoil it, but it will be soon after Zombies. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Yeah.
And it's true that we cannot see that far behind. If we looked all the way in the past, we'd go blind. In the night, from the stars as they've all lived their lives, and the light that they gave as they burned and then died.
Transmitting from year 1